Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm delighted to be joining you all today, and I'll be sharing a presentation of the work that we developed at the Urban Analytics and Design at Harvard University. We are both a research team and academic team based at Harvard University, as well as a startup incubated at the Harvard Innovation Lab. And the initiative that I'm going to be presenting today is an AI-driven regional digital twin for sustainable agriculture. We have developed an artificial intelligence-based regional model, initially in the United States and ulteriorly in Europe, although it has the capability to be deployed elsewhere around the world, essentially to perform two main tasks. The first one is geospatial, highly detailed, evidence-based analytics on rural systems and rural innovation systems. And the second, to shape and inform the decision-making processes to help raise the quality of the food systems, raise the quality of the food production, and increase the accessibility from small and mid-scale farmers to cities around the world. If some of you are interested, we just published a book a couple of weeks ago out of Harvard University where we describe high-level our methodology, which we have been developing over the last decade or so at the university. What we focus on essentially is that we have evaluated by means of network theory and complex systems vast territories like the US territory, the entire country, or large chunks of Europe, large chunks of Latin America, and parts of the rest of the world. And what we have learned is that there's a number of inefficiencies in the rural system, in the food production system, that are systematically hurting the small and mid-scale farmers, who are the people that produce more than 70% of the healthy food that we consume. So we have conceived a concept of a network of agri-technology campuses strategically located and shaped so that they can serve three main purposes. The first one, serve as the main basis for economies of scale. So farmers can share equipment, operations, materials, systems, reduce the marginal cost, and be more efficient overall. The second is vertical integration. So acquiring more and more phases of the supply chain and the value chain. So rather than the commodity production, we can add there's a whole third set, which is the one about identity, culture, and innovation, right? How can we refine and sophisticate the products? So what we've seen is that when we evaluate in a geospatial manner for the last 50 years, since 1970 up to today, the geospatial baseline for agriculture is that the reforms introduced in the early 70s by Earl Butz, the Minister of Agriculture of the USDA in the States, have been hurting dramatically the small and mid-scale farmers. This is a crime. So what you see here is the typical two food value chain systems that we have. The one for the small-scale farmers, which are 90-something% of the producers, and the one for the agri-tech corporations, right? The system is rigged in favor of the agri-technology corporations and against the mid-scale farmers. It's almost impossible for them to compete, and that's why we measured that right now, both in Europe and in the States, they only capture 7% of the value financial-wise of the food system. So we have conceived an alternative system with agricultural campuses, sharing infrastructure, sharing data systems, improving the vertical integration, sophisticating the products, and having a point-to-point direct sales strategy. How do we do that? We build massive databases with satellite information, joining information from multiple sources, private, public, and otherwise, and we analyze it by means of artificial intelligence and network systems. So this is Massachusetts, where I live. On the left-hand side, you see generic croplands, which is mostly the large agri-technology firms. And on the right-hand side, you have the specialty croplands, where the majority of the small and mid-scale farmers are. So what do we observe? The small and mid-scale farmers are located in the areas with the best arability, best oxygen and nitrogen, best location, more clustered, but they are marginalized, not because of their location, but because of their strength position in the food chain. So we have conceived this system to help them gain more power in the food system by means of sharing infrastructure, sharing operations, utilizing data to raise their profile in the value chain and make it able for them to succeed. This is the different crops in the case of Massachusetts. We see apples outside of Worcester. We see cranberries, blueberries. We see squash and other areas in the Pioneer Valley. And we've been able to measure with a high level of precision the production for each and every parcel across the state, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Therefore, being able to identify where can we locate strategically those campuses, how can we shape them, how can we design them, what are the products and the operational systems that need to be supported and nurtured in these environments, and how we can create an alternative food system. To do so, we've created for those three questions, the who and what, the how and the where, 9 KPIs or data-driven indicators to measure the efficiency of the system as it is right now and understand how we can improve those systems overall. So I'm going to be presenting very briefly an example that we applied in Europe, in Catalonia, in the region of Camp de Tarragona, just 1 hour south of Barcelona. And it's a region that's very rich from a gastronomic standpoint, but it's facing a number of problems. So we were able to build a platform or a dashboard to help support the farmers in this area and help create some of these agri-technology campuses, right? So how can we envision an agri-technology sustainable development strategy in Catalonia, and in this case specifically for the case of Camp de Tarragona? So we've been able to recreate, as we did in Massachusetts and in the States, this three-dimensional database, measure the production of 15 families of products, 178 products, and 560 specialties, where the production happens, the production in kilograms, what's the euro value of the production at the farmer's level, at the wholesale level, at the retail level, who is gaining, who's capturing the value financial-wise in the different phases of the value chain, right? And we identified by means of artificial intelligence that there are 5 functional regions in the Camp de Tarragona, or sub-regions within the region of Camp de Tarragona, that operate a little bit independently because they have different products, different cultural charisma, different systems, different cities that are leading those efforts, right? So we've been able then to shape for each of these different regions the activities that need to be supported so that these 14 or 15 families, 178 products, and 560 specialty products can be supported throughout the system. So number one, we measure the financials for fruits and vegetables, dry fruits, wine, olive oil, cereals, but also we did that for meat, poultry, fish, seafood, and other specialty products, right? The surface, the production weight, the revenue. For the 5 phases of the value chain, we measured with high level of precision who was retaining the financial value of those systems. And we saw that the farmers were being robbed in a systematic way, the same that we observe in the US. In the US, it was 7% for the farmers. Here it was even worse, 6.5%, similar, but even worse, right? So what we envision is we can create this 3-dimensional database. You see garrofer, caña, kaki, avellaner, alfalfa, all the myriad of production in the Camp de Tarragona region in the area. And then we can measure for every municipality, for every parcel, for every property, what's the dominant product? Is it olive oil? Is it wine? Is it fresh fruits? Is it dry fruits? Is it cereals? So we can tailor the strategy for those agri-technology campuses for each and every region. Certain regions are more cereal-based, some are more fresh food-based, some are olive oil-based, some are seafood. Excuse me. I'm recovering from a cold, as you can see. And fish-based. And then for each of the 6 comarcas composing this area, this tapestry of production, we can help support locally tailored strategy for these different sub-regions. So this would be the example of Baix Camp, which would be different than Conca de Barberà, which is more, in this case, wine and cereal.
Recording in progress.
So in that sense, it's essential that we not only measure the physical production of those products, but also the value capturing, right? the commodity phase, the food processing, the packaging and labeling, the logistics, and finally the retail. And what we observe is that primarily the food processing and the retail capture the majority of the economics, specifically the retail. So how can we balance those systems a bit more? By means of these shared infrastructure and operational systems that we call the agri-technology campuses. So we can observe for each and every municipality and product the levels, excuse me, the different levels of efficiency, excuse me, and then we can essentially, for the different products, foodstuffs, cereals, fresh fruits, dry fruits, fish and seafood, and the others, we can, in a geospatial way, visualize, measure, and calibrate the efficiency of the value chains. For example, slaughterhouses and poultry hatcheries for animal production and products tend to be very inefficiently distributed in the territory. As a result, that creates a chicken scratch, highly inefficient system that creates unbalanced systems in the value chain. The same can be said about certain wine and olive oil food post-processing facilities, right? They're not located very often in the best locations. The capacity is not properly sized, and they do not have the necessary equipment, machinery, technology to conduct their operations the proper way. So here we observe, excuse me, here we observe fresh fruits, cereals, wine, and alcoholic beverages. And for each of these different systems, we've also conceived an innovation strategy. So how can we establish a relationship between the production and a linkage between smart specialization strategies tailored for each and every comarca, whether it's Baix Camp or Priorat or Tarragonés, where the products will be different, but also how can we tailor it with the innovation strategies being conducted at the universities in those environments, right? So what we're able to do now is to establish a relationship between the myriad of universities like Agritecnio, Barcelona Tech, URB, Universitat de Girona, and many others, the researchers that are developing specific work, agronomy, medicine, agriculture, chemistry of soils, nutrition, biotechnology, and animal biology, etc., all the food production related research fields. And we've been evaluating the networks of research, those different domains of knowledge, whether it's technology of food systems, nutrigenomics, catalysts for green chemistry, nanotechnology for food systems, right? Microsystems for fruit and agriculture. And for each of these research ecosystems and innovation ecosystems, we've been able to establish a linkage or a liaison between their potential contribution to the real economy with those researchers and academic activities that are being conducted these days in these multiple academic and research centers. So as a result of that, for meat products or fish and seafood or excuse me, or red fruits or cereals and the different products, we can have a highly tailored strategy. And to complete that, what we can do is conceive an agri-technology campus system that's tailored for every region. So for the first region called Conca de Barberà, it's going to be activated for certain value chains, including vegetables, wine, and cereals. The second region, which is Tarragonés, is going to be more fresh fruits, dry fruits, wine, and certain types of other products like meat and others. In Costa Daurada, fish and seafood, fresh fruit and vegetables will be more dominant, as well as some meat products, etc. So those systems can be tailored for each and every one of the 5 regions. We can strategically locate the campuses. We can come up with a sizing strategy that's tailored for each and every region. And finally, we can design the architectural spaces in a way that's tailored for the needs of the community, in a way that supports local agriculture. It supports local agriculture, the small and mid-scale farmers. It helps increase the quality of the products and the sophistication of the products, as well as increasing the vertical integration levels and utilizing as well economies of scale strategies to gain more power within the food system value chain. So thank you so much for your patience, and I'm delighted to answer any questions associated with it.
Ramón,